The cruising season is officially open. We're back on the cruises, back on preparing, on thinking and organizing and taking notes and doing a lot of work, taking a lot of risks, all so you don't have to. And this is what we will see on this wonderful 10-day Mediterranean cruise. When I went to Venice, I discovered that my dream had become incredibly, but quite simply, my address. Marcel Proust about Venice. Naples raw, a bit neglected, yet poetic and fascinating. In Dubrovnik, lose yourself here and let the magic take you over. It's like Venice, but a little less water. Italy has changed, but Rome is Rome. Robert De Niro. Cannes, to be precise, Nice, we're gonna see. Nice is known as Nice la Bella, Nice the Beautiful. I'm just gonna go with that. Florence, a city-sized shrine to the Renaissance. Florence offers fresco sculptures, churches, palaces, and other monuments from richest cultural flowering that the world has known. National Geographic. Barcelona, with tons of energy and stunning views. Gaudi's little darling. And in the meanwhile, we have arrived to stunning Venice. We arrived here a couple of days early just to see Venice. Everybody knows it's not hard to fall in love with Venice. If anything, it's hard not to. I absolutely love the place. Venice is the capital of northern Italian region of Veneto, built on over 100 different islands in a beautiful lagoon in Adriatic Sea. There are no roads, just canals. The origins of Venice are a bit of a mystery. Most historians suggest that it was established by the people from Roman cities fleeing away from Germanic and Huns tribes in the 5th century AD. As I mentioned, city is made up of different islands connected by 400 spectacular bridges and 170 waterways, giving Venice its unique charm. Once a country, used to be a Republic of Venice, was a very, very wealthy republic and existed between the end of the 7th century and the end of 1700s. Did you know that Venetian gondolas have to be black by law? An archaic law was designed to reduce unfair competition between the gondoliers, and I have to say they made a right choice because it makes the place look very stylish. Famous traveler Marco Polo was from Venice. We probably have heard about his fascinating accounts of trade along the Silk Road. Marco Polo was one of the most intriguing residents of Venice. He was from a Venetian merchant family who wrote about his journey to the east. Venice is very, very old. It has celebrated its 1600th anniversary in 2021. And here you would find the world's first public casino. Casino di Venezia is the oldest casino in the world, dating back to 638. The time to say goodbye to beautiful Venice and start the rest of the journey. To the more exciting part, we are finally making our way to our boat. We celebrated it with a glass of wine, went for a wonderful show, and then checked out our room. We had a lovely cabin with balcony, and that's a huge advantage if you enjoy alone time. There is a room service, so you can order some food in. We spent most of the time outside of the cabin, but there's nothing like checking a sunset from your own balcony in the evening. The moon was fantastic that night. The next day we were in beautiful Dubrovnik. We did not order a tour, so we had quite a few hours before the shuttle. We woke up early as well, so we had very, very slow breakfast and then spent time by the pool, which was a blast after so many very busy days of seeing different ports. So we are in Dubrovnik. Again, here quickly would mention that you do not have to buy a tour. If you don't want to see the coastal line, if you don't want to drive anywhere away from the old town of Dubrovnik, if you have never been here, Old Town is more than enough, and you can navigate there by yourself. So you don't really need a tour, but do buy a shuttle transfer to the Dubrovnik itself. And now all attention to Dubrovnik. We are in beautiful Dubrovnik, aka Pearl of the Adriatic. We are in Dalmatia region in the southeastern Croatia. The area has been inhabited since the 7th century BC, when Illyrians, seeking the refuge from advancing barbarians, first established a settlement here and called it Ragusa back in the day. The location on borders of different cultures helped it to thrive through trade and other maritime activities, and developed a degree of acceptance and tolerance that few areas have seen at the time. Being an independent trade republic for over 700 years, Dubrovnik has interacted with several large trading partners, including India and Africa. Dubrovnik used to be a part of Byzantine Empire from the 9th to 12th century. Then Venice took over the city, and under its rule from 1205 to 1358, the old town was built. No wonder Dubrovnik would remind you of Venice. The city has achieved the height of its development in 15th and 16th century. Gathered a lot of wealth from the trade. With all of that wealth and tolerance and goodness, the Republic actually used the wealth for the good of the people. Dubrovnik is in fact the first country that banished slavery. At the time it was a republic, a country of its own, and that was 1416. The city also housed the world's first orphanage and pharmacy. The Franciscan monastery pharmacy is regarded to have been among the oldest pharmacies in Europe. In 1432, the first orphanage opened its doors in Dubrovnik and was the first institution of its kind in the world, so very, very progressive. The next day we were in Naples. It was lovely to start the day with a cup of coffee in a new port, and then another, and then another. And I'm gonna finish it up with another espresso in Naples. Wait for it. I'm a coffee person. So we had a slow, lovely breakfast, and we're ready to discover Naples. The best part about the port is that it is literally in the city. You step out of the ship and you are there. You're in the thick of it. It's absolutely amazing. So you absolutely do not need to buy excursions on board. There's a hop-on, hop-off bus right there. There is a stop on the left of the fortress. And if you want to go farther away, like Pompeii, there's a local provider, local guide on the square. It's on the right side of the square. As you step out of the ship, you'll be facing a few hundred meters. There'll be a square on the right side of it, in the right corner. There'll be a local provider, and the Pompeii would cost, 40 euros return or something really, really ridiculous and cheap. In Naples, we bought hop-on, hop-off, and it was 20 per person. So Naples, raw, a bit messy, a tad neglected, yet full of energy, stunning views, great food, and surprisingly enough, a lot of elegance. Welcome to Italy's masterpiece. Naples skyline features looming Mount Vesuvius, which erupted in 79 AD, burying the towns of Pompeii and Herculaneum. That you can find within an easy ride from Naples, or as it's known, Napoli in Italian. Napoli comes from Greek word Neapolis, which basically means new city or new town. This name was originally given by early Greek inhabitants in 8th century because the earlier city was abandoned, hence you had the new city. It's one of the most iconic cities in Italy, one of the most popular destinations in the entire Mediterranean. Naples is the third largest city in Italy after Rome and Milan. The very first pizzeria and maybe even invention of pizza lies with Naples. Antica Pizzeria Port Alba was opened in Naples in 1830 and is still operating today. The classic margherita pizza was named after Queen Margherita Teresa Giovanni after she visited Naples in 19th century. The history of the city is nearly 3,000 years, when ancient Greeks founded Naples around 8th century BC. Since then, this southern Italian city has gone through countless transformations and has been under the rule of, no surprise there, Roman Empire, barbarians, Spain, and even Austria, just to name a few. Naples became a part of New Italy very recently, in October 1860. The city is currently home to nearly 1 million residents. Several million more live in the surrounding districts. Castle remnants of Naples occupation history. Did you know that there are 7 castles in Naples? In fact, Naples used to be referred to as the city of 7 castles. Built in 1279 for Aragon and Spanish rulers, Castelnuovo is one of the most scenic and recognizable architectural landmarks in Naples. You will see it literally once you step out of the ship. You can see it from the ship. This imposing fortress feels like true castle, with its isolating moat and rook-like structures adorning the facade. The castle houses a civic museum today and a library, so you can visit it if you would want to. And then we decided to take a break with a cup of coffee and a few pastries. Again, Italy surprises with the prices. It's very, very cheap. So we had 2 coffees and 2 pastries for like €5. And did you know if you're standing out by the bar and you're having coffee by the bar, it could cost you 3 times, 2 times cheaper at least, rather than if you sit down. So true Italians actually have their coffee standing up. What you're seeing right now, this is a panoramic view that you would get on the Route B. As I said many times, you absolutely have to go with the Route B and Route A. The earliest, everything that was in the city, that was Route A. This is Route B. Very, very pretty. Takes less than 2 hours. You don't have to get off. Really, you can just enjoy the view on the bus. Got back to the boat, went to the Taste for dinner. Both Taste and Manhattan. I think they share the same menu, it's just the entertainment is different and the environment is a bit different. Both are great. And then went for a drink. Would highly recommend ordering chocolate martini. It was really good. The next day we were in Rome. With Rome, I actually would recommend taking a tour because it's very difficult to navigate. It's a really long ride. It's really far from the port, so definitely get a tour. Rome is believed to be founded in 753 BC by Romulus. And here we'll share with you some of the most interesting facts about the city. Rome had some of the most infamous rulers, notorious for their cruelty and debauchery. Any guesses? Nero must come to mind, but he was not the only one. We're going to start with Gaius Caligula. He did some very questionable stuff indeed. First of all, he appointed his horse as a senator. He committed an incest with his sister, back in the day who didn't, I guess, fed prisoners to wild animals, and consulted the moon on most matters. Roman Emperor Nero is considered to be altogether the greatest criminal of history, or thereabout. His name has become synonymous with evil. As historical accounts take it, he is accused, either directly or indirectly, causing death of his stepbrother, his wife, his mother, not to mention great Stoic philosopher Seneca, who also was his tutor, as well as instigating the devastating Great Fire of Rome. In Rome, you'll probably see the symbol SPQR a lot, which stands for Senatus Populusque Romanus, which means the Senate and the people of Rome. As simple as that. So what to see in Rome? Modern Rome has 280 fountains, by some estimates considered to be the city with the most fountains in the world. The must-see fountain would obviously be 30-meter high Trevi Fountain, perhaps the most famous fountain in the world. It's a beautiful Baroque fountain on the Piazza de Trevi. It was initially designed by Bernini, but too expensive. 50 years later was redesigned by Salvi to make it cheaper. The construction took 30 years, between 1732 and 62. In the center stands the statue of god Neptune, being pulled to the sea on his shell-shaped chariot, pulled by 2 winged horses and tritons. Tritons were the young gods of the sea. Nearly 70,000 euros worth of coins are tossed to the fountain each year, roughly 3,000 euros a day. They're picked up every night, and the money is donated to the Catholic charity. And of course, Colosseum. Colosseum could accommodate 65,000 spectators. Unbelievable back in the day. Built in the year 72 CE, it took only 8 years to construct, and financed, sadly and ironically, with plunder of Jerusalem. Sort of a cruel zero-sum game here. The Colosseum, also called Amphitheatrum Flavium, was opened by Emperor Titus with games and festivities that lasted 100 days and cost lives of 5,000 animals. Entertainment in Rome was frequently used to distract people from more important matters, such as fact that, lives were tough, and through entertainment Romans made sure that no one complained. Emperor Domitian later expanded the amphitheater with extra story, making Colosseum the largest amphitheater in Roman history. Considered one of the 7 wonders of the world, throughout the battles that took place in the Colosseum, it estimated that roughly 500,000 people and 1 million animals were killed. hotels. In the evening, we had a really good Indian cuisine and then watched a terrific musical, then finished it up with a rock concert in a local pub. Here I have to say that entertainment is truly great. It's definitely a great deal to get all in one package, the accommodation, the transportation, the entertainment, the food. So in that sense, cruise actually offers a great advantage to travelers. Today we were in Cannes. A new day, a new cup of coffee, and a new port. What can be better? And just between us, you can actually go down to La Cucina on Epic specifically if it's too crowded during the breakfast. In the main dining, the La Cucina is open and it's so much nicer, so go downstairs and just have your breakfast there. In Cannes, he actually are provided tender boats, which are free. Great, and you arrive there in the downtown Cannes. Since I have been to Cannes before, I actually decided not to stay there. If you want to check out Cannes, check out my other videos. I'll put in the description. You check my Mediterranean cruise video, there'll be Cannes. But this time we are going wild and taking a train all by ourselves to Nice. We'll tell you all about it. And again, going heavy on coffee. As I said, coffee on board is not particularly good, so be prepared to have a lot of coffee in the port. I took a train by myself. It's fairly easy. You just navigate to the nearby train station, which is 15 to 20 minutes walk to the spot where the tender boat brings you to. Then the cost was 15 euros return per person. Again, a couple of caveats. Obviously, check the time, make sure that you do go back on time and you don't miss the boat. That's of course is the risk that you're taking if you're organizing your own tours. But if you are reasonably conservative, you should not be late for the boat, I think. So count for the fact that trains sometimes are late in France. So in my case, the train was half an hour late or something. It's usually not very long. Plus you have a bus. Worst comes to worst, you can actually take a bus. I would recommend aiming to be back, I don't know, 2 hours before your last tender boat. And now, my friends, all attention to beautiful Nice. The city is nicknamed Nice la Bella, meaning Nice the Beautiful, which is also a title of unofficial anthem of Nice written by poet Monica Rondelli in 1912. Nice was popular with humanity like way back, or 400,000 years to be precise. Terra Amanta is an archaeological site which displays evidence of very early use of fire here, roughly 380,000 years ago. So Nice was popular back then. Around 350 BC, Greeks of Marseille founded a colony and called it Nikaia or Nikia, or in other words, Nike, sort of after Nike, not the brand, but rather the goddess of victory, after which the brand is named as well. It is believed that at some point they fought against the neighboring Ligoris and won. To mark their victory, the city was named after the goddess of victory. So coming to Nice was probably very adventurous of me, but so far so good. I haven't made it to the boat yet. I'll give you a lot more details of how everything happened. And yeah, I think it was a great trip. A very fast train, roughly 30 minutes. But do keep in mind they do run late quite a lot, so they're not that punctual. So I would recommend leaving an hour or so for the transfer between Cannes and Nice. Nice has both French and Italian heritage and was a part of the House of Savoy and later became the part of Kingdom of Piedmont-Sardinia. In 1860, there was a public vote and 99% of the population voted in favor of becoming French. Hence, it is a part of France. The natural environment of Nice and mild, wonderful Mediterranean climate with 330 sunny days a year came to the attention of English and Russian upper classes, and in the second half of 18th century, more and more aristocratic families were spending their winters here, including Queen Victoria and her son Edward VII. Even Winston Churchill loved it. Many Russian tsars also were quite fond of Nice, and the Russian presence here became so strong that today there are 3 Orthodox cathedrals in Nice. Nice was also favored with artists, loved by Paganini and Picasso, who used to live here. An annual festival is held in Nice since the Middle Ages. Every year in February, the Carnival of Nice, this colorful, festive, beautiful event, traditionally was the day of lower classes wearing masks and mocking the powerful without any drawbacks. this time around I was very excited about coming back to the ship, because this time we had the specialty dining. So these are the fancy restaurants that you have on board. They're not included, not complimentary. So we had one and we went to La Bistro and it was great. It's our favorite French restaurant on board. And as always, did not disappoint. We really enjoyed the food. And afterwards we had the show. It was a great dancing show. We really enjoyed it. We're in beautiful Florence. I was very excited about the sport. I've been here quite a few times, but I love the city so much that I was excited to go here again. So what can you do here? We did not do the best thing, so I'm gonna learn from my mistakes. So again, you do not have to book anything with NCL if you don't want to. So what you can do, and the best thing to do, to buy a shuttle transfer, get onto the shuttle, and exactly on the spot where they drop you off, there will be local providers and they will offer you Florence for 40 euros return by bus. We, however, did not look for easy ways. We took a train by ourselves. I would recommend against it, actually. I would recommend taking the tour, because we regretted taking a train. It was too much hassle and unwarranted, frankly. And we are in Florence, the birthplace of some of my favorite things in the world: gelato, Renaissance, piano, and opera. It was the birthplace of the Renaissance. Political, artistic, and cultural rebirth followed the Middle Ages. From 1865 to 1871, Florence was actually the capital of the Kingdom of Italy. The main site here is, of course, Florence Cathedral, with impressive dome that used to be the largest in the world at the time of its completion, and today it remains the largest brick dome in the world. Opera originated here in late 16th century. It is believed that Bernardo Bontalenti invented gelato in Florence in 16th century. He was the first who added eggs and milk and froze it all into the delicious dessert. And I will tell you where in Florence you can buy arguably the best ice cream in the world, so stay tuned. Gucci was founded here if you're interested in luxury, and is still headquartered today. And now to the food, to the most interesting and most important part of a retreat. Pizza was amazing. Go to this one, it's actually very close to the cathedral. Just navigate there with the Google, go for Napoli pizza. And finally, ice cream. Ice cream was absolutely amazing. You won't regret it. There will be a line, but they do serve fairly quickly, so we waited for less than 10 minutes and we even got seated, and the taste was fantastic. The history of the city goes back to the 6th century BCE, when Etruscans founded a settlement on the hill near Florence. Romans founded a military village at Florence, calling it Florentia, in 59 BCE. The Republic of Florence emerged in 1115 CE and became a very powerful force. It had its own currency, florin, and gold Florentine coin, which became a dominant currency across Western Europe. In 1339, Florence became the first city in Europe to have the paved roads. It was very advanced. In 15th century, the Medici rose to power, and they were the bankers of the Pope and great patrons of art, commissioning many works of Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci, and many others, and the beauty of their creations you can see throughout the city. And of course, the famous Medici family came from agricultural Mugello region north of Florence. They were first mentioned in 1230. The origin of the name is very interesting. Medici is plural for medico, which actually means medical doctor. The dynasty began when they founded the Medici Bank in Florence in 1397. Florence was truly an amazing experience. The food is amazing, the place is amazing, people are nice. We really loved it. So take your time, enjoy it. And we are in most awaited port of all. That's the place I have never been to, and Barcelona was the place I really wanted to visit. In this particular case, we actually did buy the tour with NCL. Was it worth it? Frankly, not so much. I would have preferred, there is a shuttle. I actually took a shuttle to return. It was really short, only 3 hours. Observing tour or whatever. It wasn't that good. Honestly, I would have preferred to take a shuttle bus and then take hop on, hop off. What I would recommend to do, absolutely get data for Europe. Get a data coverage. It's gonna be worth it. If you can navigate in the ports by yourself, you're gonna save a lot of money and get much better experience in every single port. We are in Barcelona. Did you know that Barcelona is older than Rome? No worries, I did not either. One theory about the origins of Barcelona states that city may have been founded by Hercules. 400 years before Rome was built. The truth is, no one really knows that that's the case. Maybe it's just a legend, but it sounds really cool. So for the purposes of this video, let's just go with that. According to other traditions, Barcelona has been founded by either Phoenicians or Carthaginians who had trading posts along the Catalonian coast. Today, Barcelona is the most visited city after London, Paris, and Istanbul. Could have been home to the Eiffel Tower. Yes, the very Eiffel Tower. If everything had gone according to Gustave Eiffel's initial plan, Paris' most famous landmark would now be in Barcelona. Then Barcelona would have been the second most visited city in the world. Unfortunately, Spain rejected the architect's project, deciding that it was too radical and did not fit the city's aesthetics. Little did they know. In fact, on his visit to the city in 1862, Hans Christian Andersen remarked that Barcelona was the Paris of Spain. The city is indeed a major cultural center with remarkable history. More than 10% of the city is covered by urban parks. Instead of shrinking, the surface actually grows by about 10 hectares every year. With this kind of trend, if it continues, there'll be nothing but parks by 2050. But again, maybe not. The fantastical Sagrada Familia church or cathedral, other modernist remarks designed by Antoni Gaudi. A lot of the buildings that are of any interest were actually designed by Antoni Gaudi. Antoni Gaudi is considered one of the most important architects with great influence on various buildings in Barcelona. Antoni Gaudi was a huge fan of nature. That's why when you look at Antoni Gaudi's buildings, you would realize nothing is repeating itself, nothing is identical. As he himself pointed out, that in nature, nothing repeats, nothing appears more than once. So everything that he did was always unique. The construction of Roman Catholic Basilica Sagrada Familia began in 1882 and still ongoing many years after his death. And then very randomly on the square we walked into heaven. We walked into a tapas place, which was amazing, and it was self-service, so you could pick up any of these beauties that you want, and the price would be depending on how many this kind of tiny wooden sticks you would have collected, and the cost of which like between 2 and 2.5 euros. But oh my god, it was good. So definitely have lunch in Barcelona. Returned to the boat with the shuttle bus because we did stay behind after the tour. Then we had a great dinner, again loads of desserts. And this would be all that I wanted to share with you today about a lovely Mediterranean cruise from Venice to Barcelona. I really hope you have enjoyed it, got a lot of useful information. Let me know if you have any questions. Don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to put the like, and see you soon.